Hi, this is Vincent. I'm the farm boy from Kansas, and I've had an awful lot of very great experiences. The best part of that is the people that I met and interacted with and related to, and many of these people are still alive and are part of the story. I was on a farm with dad and mom and have two older siblings, an older brother and an older sister. And then there were three came after me, two boys and a sister. The first farm we were on is called the East Place. That was named for the first person to own it. There's a name for it. It's a quarter section of land. Anyway. The first person, he was called the East Place because of his name, his last name. That's the way they typically named the piece of land. It was named for the first person that owned it. And we lived there until I was about 5 years old, or 6 years old. Then we moved 2 miles east of that. To our second place. And the ironic thing about the name of the place, we moved from the original place to the East Place, from the East Place to the farm we're on now, and now we're in your correction, our farmer last raised. Let's go west now for 2 miles, to go west to the East Place. Yeah. I assumed that I'd be farmer, like my dad. But when I got into high school, from first grade to about the 6th grade was in a little schoolhouse right at Claudel. It was very handy. It was only a mile and a half from our home. And my older brother, he would ride bicycles with my older brother, and then my next younger brother. And when the weather was okay, we'd ride our bicycles to and from school. And that worked really well. The difficulty was we had to take care of our lunches with us in a paper bag. And so at lunchtime, the teacher would let us go and give us time to get our lunch sack, and I needed a spoon or a fork. I believe that we had to bring those too, and then we would wash them after we ate during the lunch hour. After my sixth grade, there was a problem with the school when it fell, so I couldn't do it. It didn't completely ruin itself, but couldn't use the building for the school anymore. So for the last few weeks of that year, we went east 5 miles from Claudel to a town called Cedar. And there. they fortunately had an upper room in their school building that was free. It was open so we could use it. Then after that, went to high school at Kensington, north of Philadelphia, about 6 miles. And at that time, my class had 19 students in total. There were six boys and 13 girls. And there were probably 6 to 8 teachers. There'd be a math teacher, an English teacher, all other areas. Then they also had a boys glee club. There wasn't actually, they had a music class. Anyone interested in music could come attend. And then on an informal basis, if you wanted to form a group of people to get together and sing, you could do that. I didn't do a lot of that. And I was pretty shy anyway, so I wasn't sure that I wanted anyone to hear me sing anymore. Then, but I told you, a church, the church building there was built on concrete with concrete walls. That was that's the only remaining structure in Claudel now. That was interesting. Anyway, we went to church. The place where we went, there was 2 or 3 different places. One was about 6 or 7 miles away, and they would move to different buildings from time to time. My Uncle Glenn, my Dad's next younger brother, sang in the choir. He was one of the only men then singing in the choir. And it helped me because before I entered my freshman year, I think it was in the spring, they started a boys glee club. You just gotta sing. Why? I don't want anyone to hear me sing. But then I thought about Uncle Grant. I said, well, he could do it, and I could do it. So that was a great first step in music. Then, about my junior year in high school, it was time to decide about going to college. Was I going to? If so, where and what would the major be? Well, Ron, my older brother, 4 years older, went to K-State, Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas. About 150 miles east of us, probably. And I had to pick out what my major would be. And one of the first possibilities that came to me was agricultural engineering. And because it fit it fit my background, what I did. My older brother was majoring in agricultural education. And he was a teacher, and he was a good teacher. So that seemed to fit him very well. I stayed with him and 3 or 4 other men that had been saying he's been together with these 3 or 4 for at least 2 years on each one of them. So it was like a family of students. And that was a very good starter place for me, except for one thing. The majors that they were in were all relatively easy. And they just didn't, they might have studied the night before the exams, but that was about it. Well, I was an engineering major, and you have to study quite a bit to go through the engineering courses. So I was fortunate to move the second semester, actually. At the beginning of the second semester, I moved into like a house, a building, much like a fraternity, group of men that may or may not have to live in the kind of house. Most of them did, the fraternities, but you could have a smaller fraternity and have people in a fairly close by, but they didn't have to be in the same building. And that was a good experience. What I had with the scholarship house, we had a group, like a fraternity from the standpoint of other people, but then when, after the supper, after dinner, you studied. There was a lot of emphasis on studying.
Yeah.
There. And that was very good. Very good. And then when I left K-State, in that last year before I was contemplating on what I might do next, I first thought of just go to a job with a master's degree. And I don't know, so the Spirit just seemed to lead me to want to go further than the previous degree. So I got checking with friends, didn't get much, and did not identify one specific place that seemed to be the best. So I think what I was thinking, I'll just go to one of the closest universities nearby, like in Nebraska. Go. I don't know what the colleges would be east of us. That would be interesting. Oklahoma State seemed to be the next closest place that would be a fit. So I moved to Oklahoma State from SOCTA. Graduate school, and I stayed for the first year at least in a house that I think it was just a married couple. It was a married couple. I really been just the wife there, but they had rooms to rent, about 3 different rooms. So I moved in with her and stayed the first semester there. And then I had gotten to know a few young men that through my classes, and this one young man recommended to me a private house that had all the rooms rented out to students. So I moved into that, one room in that house, and that turned out to be a good place. There was a good young man there. You remember Taylor Beard? Taylor was an older student from, older than me. He was probably he was probably a couple of years older. He was about to finish. In fact, by the time I finished, I was probably the one that was the oldest that had been there the longest.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good experience. Now, social life was not my strength. When it came to girls and dating, I dated a few girls there, and there were really good girls, but I couldn't get very seriously until I met Judy, and she had well, she was from Oklahoma. She had several friends, and she was working in the cafeteria as a cashier because she didn't need the extra money that I gave her. And she was a very outgoing woman. And she really got my attention. I couldn't help but thinking, don't ask her for a date, she'd have one already. But when I went to a movie one Saturday night, I saw her with two of her girlfriends sitting down close to the screen. I thought, oh, Saturday night, she doesn't have a date, maybe she's available. Got home the next day, I didn't know what to call it after that night. So the next day I gave her a call in the afternoon, and we decided to go out for a coffee that afternoon. But it was a great experience. And then since then, we've had great experiences. I think of all of the places that we've lived, and including the 2 years in Germany. We had good friends and a good place to live there. First son, Steve, was born there. And we also got to spend a good time in Ireland. We had our first trip there. I guess it was in the connection that we had. Our younger son Kevin, had dated a girl, his wife, and Carl, lived in Ireland, and she was in the United States on a visa, and I heard she had to work. But fortunately, Kevin, she met Kevin, and they started dating, and they were serious, and they got married, and right after the wedding, we got to know more of her siblings, and then we just wanted to go back to Ireland for several times. We did that, and had so many great experiences. That's a lot. I think I'm going to run out. Any questions?
What about your time in the Army?
Oh, yeah. I came in to Frankfurt area for a college. No, it wasn't Frankfurt, it's Germany. we flew into, there was an airport about halfway up between the southern tip of Vietnam to the northern edge. It was Cayman Bay, and you land in a plane, and a group of people from the plane would stay or get apartments in an apartment building and stay for 2 or 3 days typically till they had decided what unit they would send you to. And so I was had engineering degrees, so engineering was the type of unit to be in. Well, I'm not sure that there were any companies or that had only engineers. Typically, company or the one might be focusing on one particular area. But anyway, long story short, I ended up staying in Cameron Bay in that place for about 3 days, and on the third day, they told me that I was going to stay in a particular maintenance company. And could have gone to right away if I had known that I was going to position there.
Yeah.
And that was 6 months. It was very safe. We did have to carry weapons, but just never used them. For the meals, they fed us. It wasn't the typical mess hall in the sense that there was one tent, all used only for eating, but the building did have a place for eating, and that was a great experience to know this from other places around the country.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do after the Army?
After the Army, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I've been doing theater forever.
You ended up at Purdue, right?
Well, that's right. Yeah. Thank you. What put us on Purdue?
You saying why we went to Purdue?
Yeah, what put us on that?
Charlie and June were at Peoria at Caterpillar, and that was close to them.
Yeah. 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 Charlie Barrett was in the Army at the same time. That was how I was.
We met them in Germany.
Yeah. We were in the same battalion in Germany. He was the company commander of one maintenance company, and then the company in the one building. The next building to it was a company that I was in, and I spent the first 6 months in the company. I put the second 6 months into as a company commander. But the six before that were working in the headquarters of the battalion. One of the different areas, different parts of that maintenance battalion.
So you wanted to go back to school after the Army?
Good question.
That's how you ended up in college at Purdue?
Purdue was the last. It was the last. It was the PhD. That was the last. It's a given.
And that's where you finished your PhD?
Yeah.
And then you stayed there for a while?
I stayed there for 3 years. 6 years. Yeah. It was a very good job. The other
Are you getting tired?
yeah.
It's running out of gas.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.